Ladies and gentlemen, Nords and Imperials, Dragons and Trolls, today I will be making an Orc War Chief build for new and old Skyrim players. I decided not to put any gameplay in the video so that the new players can experience Skyrim in their own eyes in their own game. I'd like to thank ESO and Fudge Muppet for making me interested in this game. If you would like to check out their channels, it will be in the description below. Now let's get in this build. The race, you can tell from the title, is an Orc. In the start, you will be using the Warrior Stone, but later on, you will most likely want to be using the Lord Stone, seeing as it gives 50 points of damage resistance and a 25-point buff to magic resistance. The skills that you will be using are most of the warrior skills: two-handed, heavy armor, block, and the arcane and orc perks in the smithing category. Now to the backstory of the War Chief. Solomon was born as an orphan. From here, he was raised by Yorlin Greymane, the blacksmith of Whiterun. Solomon was the name Yorlin gave to him as a child. Once Solomon reached the age of 10, he started to use weapons, and was especially good at using the hammer. He would often play with Yorlin's iron hammer and hit the targets the companions used as practice. As Solomon got older, he started to develop new ways to fight, and met an orc near Whiterun. That specific orc was telling Solomon that there are more orcs around the world. Yorlin did not appreciate Solomon leaving his side, but made Solomon promise that he would come back. As Solomon was traveling with this orc, he was kidnapped and ransacked. He was taken as a prisoner for the Dunmer in Solstheim. He stayed there for 4 years until he was 16 and decided that he was going to escape. When he told the orc he got captured with his plan, that same orc decided to tell the guards about Solomon escaping. Luckily for Solomon, he was able to catch a ship back to Skyrim. Solomon did not explore the world enough to navigate his way back to Whiterun. 16 days later from his escape, he was caught trying to cross the border of Skyrim. The Imperials brought him to the town of Helgen and was planning to execute him until a dragon saved his life. Now that the backstory is finished, we will get into the distribution of Solomon's skills and his playstyle. As an orc, he has a special ability called Berserker Rage, which means that he takes 0.5% less damage and deals 50% more damage. The skills that Solomon will be using are two-handed, heavy armor, block, and smithing. I recommend that whenever you level up, the distribution of health, stamina, and magicka should be for every 2 health, there should be 2 stamina. In two-handed, the skills you will need are completing Barbarian, Champion Stance, all 3 perks of Skull Crusher, Great Critical Charge, Devastating Blow, Sweep, and War Master. For heavy armor, the perks you will use are all of Juggernaut, Well Fitted, Tower of Strength, and Reflect Blows. In block, you should use Shield Wall to the max, Quick Reflexes, Power Bash, and Deadly Bash. You should also use the Disarming Bash perk. And last but not least, for smithing, you will need Steel, Dwarven, Orcish, and Arcane smithing perks. If you have used all perks by the end of your creation, you will be level 36. The gear that Solomon will be using is full Orcish armor, and his weapon of choice will be Volendrog, the Hammer of Malakath. In the start of Solomon's expedition, he will be using Imperial heavy armor and a two-handed iron sword that he used after escaping Helgen. In the last part of the build, it is an optional part, which is not really necessary but fun to do. In this part, you can choose your factions, companions, your house, and your lover. As an orc who is a warrior, if you want Solomon to reunite with Yorlin Greymane, you should join the companions. Your house should be near the orc stronghold, so your house should be the one from Falkreath, seeing that it is the most individual land that is closest to the orc stronghold of Dushnik Yal. The companion that you have should be Vilkas or Gorbash the Iron Hand if you want to be a traditional orc. Lastly, your wife can be up to your choosing, but I suggest Ayla the Huntress or Borka the Steelheart. And that is all. Thank you for listening. Some walkthroughs will be in the description below, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.
I'm holding my desires, my heart overflows. The only direction that I'll ever know.